So if your child is already using AI for school, for their homework, for curiosity, for advice, the question isn't whether AI is part of your family, because it already is. The question is more about whether you can teach your children how to use AI wisely. I recently held a presentation at my church where I was talking to a group of families about the proper use of artificial intelligence. And it made me realize that this is a broader conversation that can be had with more parents. And so in this video, I walk you through that presentation to show you exactly what is artificial intelligence, how you can use it, why AI hallucinates, how you can protect your privacy, and how you can use AI to be more productive in your day-to-day. So let's step into the video. The family and technology, but my main focus is on AI because I've been studying this area for the past year and actively contributing on LinkedIn, YouTube, you name it, just so that I can grow as an AI partner. So artificial intelligence, an amazing tool or something to fear? So tonight we're just going to be looking into that, and so that at the end you can decide as a family or as an individual what your thoughts are around artificial intelligence. So we're just going to step into the presentation. So where are you with AI? So I've got 4 options there. Just put in the chat, or if you're in the room, I want you to raise your hand. If you are A, are you that type of person who's like, what's AI? You barely use it. Are you an A, or are you an AI tourist? Someone who kind of goes, you know, I've tried ChatGPT a few times. Anyone in the room? Or are you an AI user? Do you use AI for school, for work? Do you use it every day? Anyone? Maybe, yeah, a little bit. D, are you an AI power user? Are you like me and you totally know, that AI is not just ChatGPT? AI, there's so many chatbots, there are so many large language models, but tonight we just want to talk about the relevance of artificial intelligence to us as individuals. So just to simplify it, when we talk about artificial intelligence, we are just talking about computers doing things that normally require human intelligence. So we are talking about, a computer being able to translate something for you, a computer being able to make a video for you, a computer being able to write an intelligent sounding email for you. So we're talking about computers doing what we normally are associated with being done by a human being. So that's basically what it is. So ChatGPT doesn't know things the way that we do. So basically what they've done, I think if you've heard the news, you hear about people in Kenya who are training these artificial intelligence models. So these models are trained based on patterns, so say if you had a circle, star, circle, what comes next? Star. So they are trained to understand patterns. So like if you said circle, square, circle, and then it's trained to bring a square. It's trained on a pattern. It's like, for example, if I said to you, black sheep, what would you say? Exactly. So it's a pattern. These tools have been trained to be able to follow patterns, and that's how they work. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, we are really thinking about how does the AI work, or how does the AI think, and what's happening. Amen. Oh, no, okay. We'll move on. Amen. So AI can be completely brilliant, and it can also sometimes be completely wrong. So why is it that I think you've heard of things like hallucinations? So hallucinating just means that it can get confused. So for example, this is why when you follow people like Strive Masiwa and other African technology gurus, they're talking about bringing that artificial intelligence technology into Africa because we're not well represented in the world in terms of how we do things or how our people have evolved. So that's why there's a lot of money at the moment going into Africa so that all this data is also added into these large language models. That's why if you ask something that's maybe even about African history, you might find that there are pockets of some things are known, but not everything. Because for us to build artificial intelligence, it's that context that has been given to the machine so that the machine can think like a human being. But if it fails if that data is not in there, it makes it up. So that's why when we are talking about using artificial intelligence or using any form of technology, we need to think about these things. Think, does the answer make sense? Check. Can I verify the claims that are being made by this large language model? And then decide for yourself. You make the final decision, not the artificial intelligence. Whether we're talking about social media, whether we're talking about anything technology related, at the end of the day, you need to make a decision whether you're going to believe it or not. You just don't take everything at face value. So what happens now if we're talking about artificial intelligence, for example, you need to protect your privacy. So I just want you, if we've got our phones, do we have ChatGPT on our phones? No? Anyone? Yeah, those would do. If I just want to explain something a setting that you can have within your ChatGPT. So basically if you go into ChatGPT and you go into settings, then you go to data controls, you can see there's somewhere where it says improve the model for everyone. So what that means is you can allow OpenAI to use the information that you're putting in there to improve the model for everyone. So you can allow it to use all the questions that you're asking, all the experiences that you're telling it. You can allow OpenAI to use that information to train their model and improve their model for everyone. So basically what you would first do when you download any of these chatbots is to protect your privacy. So you would go into ChatGPT settings, data controls, and you would toggle off the improve the model for everyone. So what that means then is whatever information you're putting into the chatbot will not be used to improve the model for others. I know it sounds selfish, but it helps so that you can protect your privacy. So what you would need to do is just to make sure that anything that you would not want shared in public, don't share it online. I can even generalize it just to say, do not share it online, full stop. But even when we're talking about AI, I'm saying don't put passwords in there. Don't put your bank details. Don't don't paste your whole bank statement in there without knowing what you're doing. So as a family, we need to have rules around what sort of information we put out there on social media, or if we're talking specifically on AI, what sort of information we are putting in the chatbot. So anything that you would be embarrassed to see with your mother, don't put it up there. If your mom were to see it online, I think most people just use mother as the example. If it's something that you would not be proud of seeing in public, do not put it out there online. Keep it to yourself, keep it to your family, keep it as private. The thing that you can do is you can make ChatGPT work for you. And how do you do that? If you want to use these artificial intelligence models better, you need to be asking. When we say asking AI, we're talking. They call it prompting. So prompting is when you communicate or converse with the AI or with the chatbot. So you can imagine if I just said to it, like say if I was Mutsa, I'm in high school, and I just said, explain photosynthesis. Or if you were someone at work and just went, write an email without the context. It's the same thing even if you were sending your child at home and you just said, put the meat on the stove. You haven't said what type of meat, what sort of dinner do we need to have, how many people are coming, and so on. So even when we are communicating with chatbots such as ChatGPT, we need to give it the context. If you give it better context, you get better answers. So instead of just saying, explain photosynthesis, you would say, explain photosynthesis to a 13-year-old who is studying for a science test. Use simple language and analogy and finish with 5 questions to test whether I understand. That's the right way to prompt it to get the best results. So because this is a family session, we need to talk about using artificial intelligence in school, using it as your tutor and not as a cheat code. I can see some smiles in the room, yeah? Use it as your tutor, not to say, write my assignment for me, or give me all the answers. Go and do my homework. No. We need to use it to say, teach me this, or explain this to me in simple terms. There's one code that I like to use when working in ChatGPT, and it's ELI 10, ELI 10. It just means explain like I am 10 years old. Even as you as an adult, if you put that before your prompt, it will explain that concept to you like you're a 10-year-old, so you can understand difficult concepts. Yeah, so use AI more to say, teach me this, or explain this to me in a simple way. You can even ask it to quiz you. So if you're studying something, you can say, generate a quiz for me, 10 questions to make sure that I understand this topic. So don't use AI to avoid thinking. Use it to help you think better. So it doesn't matter whether you're using other social media types, whether it's YouTube or whatever. Use them to teach you, use them to explain things to you, and not just to make you dumb or dumber. So you need to be using them to make you smarter and to understand concepts better. The other thing that we need to talk about is that AI is not your therapist. AI does not replace your parent, neither does it replace your best friend. So even if you look in social media these days, there's that tendency for people to think, oh, I'll just ask AI, or I'll just put that into ChatGPT, and you end up putting your health information into ChatGPT. You end up telling ChatGPT some family private information, and sometimes, like, even if you're in the workplace, I am sure behind the scenes they can grab all that history. So we need to be careful. I've talked about privacy before, but now I want to just go into the issue of just You understanding that AI does not replace your doctor. AI does not replace your real friends. So if you have friends, go to your friends. If you have a trusted adult, go to that adult. It might be your pastor, it might be your elder. Social media or artificial intelligence does not replace that human-to-human interaction, because those will always be required. So I know there's been talk of, AI is coming to replace your job. Yeah, it can make us do things better. It can help us in repetitive work and do it better for us, but it can not fully replace people like teachers. It can't replace your parents, your friends. You will always need those, and you should always go to them. So yes, AI can do incredible things, like I've talked about. It can help you in your learning. It can help at the moment in programming, like people are building fascinating apps with artificial intelligence, what's called vibe coding, where you're using natural language to build an app. It can create images. At the moment, we are listening to music that has been created by AI. It's helping businesses automate repetitive work, and AI automation is another thing that I am working with small businesses around to automate repetitive work. So it can do a lot of things. I just want you to think, if you had an AI assistant who could help you with anything, what would you ask that assistant to do for you? And is there anyone who wants to share? I think I've been talking a lot. If you could ask AI to do something for you after what we've been talking about, what would be the first thing you would be asking it to do for you? AI can help you learn faster, create, research, brainstorm, communicate, solve problems, but at the end of the day, you are responsible for what you do with the answer. So we can use it as a co-worker or as a collaborator, but let's not use it to totally replace us or to totally replace ourselves. So that was my presentation. If you are interested, there's a link there to my Google My Business account. Please go and leave me a review. Just say you attended a workshop and say what, just leave me a review.